My name is Margaret Ellis, and this is the story of how my life changed the moment my daughter left her 3 sons with me, vanished without a trace, and returned 15 years later to accuse me of kidnapping the very children I raised. Before I take you into everything that happened, let me ask you something. If someone you loved abandoned their children, and those children needed you, how far would you go to protect them? And what would you do if that same person came back years later and tried to take them away from you? If stories like this resonate with you, stories about family, sacrifice, heartbreak, and quiet courage, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe. Your support helps keep stories like mine alive.
Now, let me take you back to the beginning.
It was a late autumn afternoon, the kind where the air smells of cold wind and fallen leaves. The house was quiet when I heard a car pull into the driveway. I wiped my hands on a dish towel and opened the front door. There she was.
My daughter, Laura.
She stood on my porch with hollow eyes and a fractured expression, as though life had worn her down far too young. But it was not just her standing there. She had her 3 boys with her. Adam, 6 years old, too old to still be a child, too young to carry the weight I saw in his eyes. Noah, 4, gentle, quiet, clinging to his big brother's hand. Jacob, barely a year, his little fingers gripping the fabric of Laura's shirt. "Mom," she said, brushing past me without a hug, "I need you to take them. Just for a few weeks." Her words came out clipped, rushed, as if speaking too slowly might break her. She dropped their small backpacks on my couch with a soft, heartbreaking thud.
"Laura, what are you talking about? Where are you going?"
I asked. She looked away, avoiding my eyes. "I just need time," she whispered. "To fix things. To get my life back together." I reached out to touch her arm, to ground her, to pull her back into the mother I remembered. But she stepped away before I could. "This is the best thing for them, Mom. I swear I will be back soon." I wanted to believe her. God, I needed to believe her. She kissed each boy lightly on the head, so lightly I felt a stab of fear, then walked back down the porch steps and climbed into her car. She did not look back. Not once. I stood there, frozen, with 3 small boys staring at the car that carried their entire world away. And that was the moment everything changed. The first week was filled with questions. Is Mommy coming today? Where did she go? Did she call? Did she forget something and come back later? Every morning, I told them, maybe today. Every night, I swallowed my own doubt and repeated, maybe tomorrow. But tomorrow never came. The boys reacted in different ways. Adam stopped asking out loud. He tried to be the responsible one, comforting Noah, helping me with Jacob, and pretending he was fine. Noah cried quietly at nap time. He stared out the living room window for long stretches, waiting for a car that never appeared.
Jakob, still a baby, simply clung to me.
His tiny hands wrapped around my shirt, his head resting on my shoulder. He cried whenever I left the room, terrified I would disappear too. I was 58 years old. I had planned for a peaceful retirement, garden mornings, slow afternoons, quiet evenings. Instead, life gave me diapers, night feedings, school pickups, and 3 broken hearts to mend. And yet, love found its way back into my home. Their laughter slowly returned, a soft, fragile sound at first. Their footsteps filled the old hardwood floors with life. Their drawings covered my refrigerator door. I realized something. I was not simply filling in for my daughter. I was becoming their mother. Weeks turned into months. Months turned into years. And in all that time, Laura never called. Never wrote. Never asked about them. The boys learned to live around the absence of her. They grew, and so did our little family. Adam, the oldest, became my protector as much as I was his. He helped with chores, walked Noah home from school, read bedtime stories to Jacob. He carried responsibility the way some kids carry backpacks, heavy, but without complaint. Noah became the heart of our home. Soft-spoken, artistic, thoughtful. He once brought me a Mother's Day card and said, "I picked you because you are the one who stayed." I excused myself to the bathroom so he would not see me cry. Jacob, who barely remembered his mother at all, started calling me Mama Margaret by the time he was 5. And although the title made my throat tighten, I let him call me whatever felt safe. My house, once quiet, now echoed with the sounds of childhood laughter, arguments, the shuffling of backpacks, late-night whispers, and piano practice that was almost always off-key. But there were hard nights too. Nights when Adam woke up from nightmares about Laura driving away. Nights when Noah cried into his pillow. Nights when Jacob asked me, why did she not want us? And every time, I said the same words. She loved you. She just could not be the mother you needed. A gentle lie. A protective lie.
A necessary lie. I searched for Laura for years.
Hospitals. Shelters. Old friends. Online databases. It was like she had disappeared into thin air. I thought maybe she would come back when she got her life together. I thought she would knock on my door one day and say, I am ready now. But she never did. For 15 years, it was just me and the boys. A family built from heartbreak and hope.
It happened on a warm spring morning.
Birds were chirping outside. The sun was just beginning to glow through the windows. Jacob was making toast. Noah was sketching in his notebook. Adam was pouring coffee. I opened the mailbox expecting bills, maybe a coupon flyer. Instead, there was a government envelope with my name printed sharply across the front. I opened it. And the world went still. Inside was a formal notice. Custody and Kidnapping Investigation Petitioner, Laura Ellis. My daughter. The daughter who had not touched her sons in 15 years. She was accusing me of kidnapping. Kidnapping. My knees went weak.
The letter trembled in my hands.
My breath caught in my chest like a knot I could not untangle. I looked through the screen door at the boys, now teenagers, laughing at some joke I had not heard. A wave of sorrow and fear surged through me. This was not just a letter. This was a threat. A storm rising after 15 years of silence. And as the truth sank in, that Laura had returned.
Not out of love,
but out of litigation. I knew. The battle for their future had just begun. For the rest of that morning, I walked around the house in a daze, trying to understand how a daughter who abandoned her children could now try to take them away from the only stable home they ever had. I hid the letter in the drawer where I kept their school photos, handmade cards, and childhood drawings, the treasured pieces of a life built slowly, lovingly, painfully. But Adam noticed my shaking hands. Grandma, what is wrong? He asked with the steady calm he had carried since childhood. I forced a smile. Nothing. I am okay. He sat down across from me, folding his arms gently on the table. You always say that when something is very wrong. He had grown into a young man who could read my silences better than anyone. I reached into the drawer and placed the letter in front of him. I watched as he unfolded the paper. His eyes scanned the words. Shock. Confusion. Anger. She is accusing you of kidnapping, he whispered. Before I could respond, Noah walked in, his expression soft but already worried. What is going on? Adam handed him the letter. Noah read it slowly, his eyes darkening with each word. Jacob entered next, drawn by the tension, and leaned over his brother's shoulders. The youngest boy, now a teenager, paled when he saw the headline. She wants us back, Jacob asked, voice cracking. No one spoke.
The reality sank into the room like a cold fog.
Finally, I opened my arms. They came to me the way they always had, even now that they were nearly grown. Listen to me, I whispered, holding them as tightly as I could. No matter what she tries, I will fight for you.
I will not let anything happen to you. Adam buried his face into my shoulder.
Noah's arms wrapped around my waist. Jacob rested his head against my chest. In that moment, I felt the weight of 15 years settle over us, everything we had healed from, everything we had built, everything she was trying to take. The very next morning, Adam insisted on driving me to a law office downtown. The building was small, but the interior felt calm, old hardwood floors, quiet hallways, shelves lined with thick legal books. It smelled like dust and possibility. Our lawyer, Ms. Donovan, listened carefully as I explained everything: the abandonment, the years of silence, the sudden lawsuit. She folded her hands on the desk, her face thoughtful. Mrs. Ellis, she said gently, Your situation is emotionally obvious, but legally complicated. Still, you have a strong case. How? I asked, barely above a whisper. Your grandsons are old enough to speak for themselves, she said. And courts care deeply about the children's wishes, especially when the biological parent has shown a history of abandonment. Adam nodded firmly beside me. What if she lies? He asked. Ms. Donovan smiled faintly. Truth has a way of showing itself.
Her words wrapped around me like a warm blanket.
For the first time since receiving the letter, I felt hope. 1 week later, it happened. Laura showed up at my house, the same porch, the same weathered steps, the same cold breeze that seemed to accompany every disappearance and return. Except this time. She was not broken. She was hardened. Are the boys home? She asked, her voice sharp. They do not want to see you right now, I replied calmly. She stepped forward, trying to push past me. Well, they do not get a choice.
I blocked the doorway.
Laura, please. We need to talk. I already know everything I need, she snapped. You took them from me. And now I am taking them back. Laura, you left them.
You left without a word.
You. She cut me off. Her eyes were full of bitterness, not remorse. I did what I had to do. And you used it to steal them.
I felt something inside me break.
Steal them? I whispered. After everything, after all these years, you think I stole them? You always wanted them, she said. You always wanted to make me look like the bad one.
My heart twisted.
I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. But all I said was, please do not put them through this. Her lip curled. I already have. She turned and walked away again. But this time, the wind felt colder. This time, she walked away on purpose. The next weeks were filled with interviews and statements. The boys had to relive painful memories they had spent years burying. But they were brave. Adam spoke first in the attorney's conference room. He talked about the day she left, the way he held his brothers, the confusion of wondering whether she would ever return. His voice shook, but he never looked away. Noah talked slowly, thoughtfully. He described the emptiness he felt on holidays, the way he learned to draw as a way to express sadness he could not voice. Jacob spoke last. He said, quietly, I do not remember her.
I remember Grandma. She raised me.
She is the only mother I know.
My heart shattered and healed all at once.
I hugged each of them afterward, whispering how proud I was. You should not have to carry this burden, I told them. But Adam shook his head. This is our story too. The day of the first court hearing felt like walking into a storm. The courtroom was cold not physically, but emotionally. Silent. Heavy. Laura sat across the room with her lawyer, her face stiff, her eyes flashing with resentment. She did not look at us. Not once. Her lawyer argued that she left the children temporarily to get her life together, and that I had taken advantage of her vulnerability. He tried to paint her as a struggling mother. He tried to paint me as someone who interfered. When it was my turn to speak, my legs trembled. I talked about everything. The nights spent rocking Jacob to sleep. The mornings helping Adam with homework before school. The afternoons spent waiting for Noah after art club.
The sacrifices.
The fears.
The love.
I did not kidnap them, I told the judge. I raised them.
Silence washed over the courtroom.
Then the boys were called to the stand. Jacob went first. He looked small on the witness chair, but his voice, though quiet, carried strength. She is my biological mother, he said, glancing at Laura. But she is not my mom. Gasps filled the room. My grandmother is the one who raised me. She is my family.
Next came Noah.
He spoke slowly the way he always did when emotions ran deep. I do not hate my mother, he said. But she left us. Grandma stayed. She is the one who took care of us when no one else did. Then Adam. He took a deep breath and met Laura's gaze head-on. I was 6 when she left, he said. I waited for her for years. Years. But she never came back. He swallowed hard. My grandmother is our parent. Not just legally, emotionally. She fought for us every day of our lives. We are not leaving her.
Laura's face crumpled.
Anger flickered, not sorrow, not regret, only anger. The judge adjourned for the day. But in that moment, I saw the truth clearly. The boys had spoken from their hearts. And the truth had finally entered the room. The final hearing arrived on a morning so quiet it felt like the world was bracing itself. A thin mist clung to the courthouse steps, softening the edges of everything. The boys walked beside me, taller and stronger now, but still carrying the weight of everything they had lived through. Inside the courtroom, a heavy silence settled as we took our seats. Adam sat on my right, his posture steady but tense. Noah leaned slightly against me, his hands clasped together. Jacob's eyes darted nervously around the room. Across from us, Laura sat rigid, her expression unreadable. She did not look at the boys. She did not look at me. Her jaw flexed every few seconds as if she was biting back words she wished she could throw across the room. The judge entered, his voice calm but firm. This court has reviewed all testimonies, evidence and statements related to the custody and welfare of the 3 minors. Adam Ellis, Noah Ellis, and Jacob Ellis. My heart pounded. The judge continued. In cases where a biological parent has been absent for an extended period, the court must consider whether their return serves the best interests of the children. Laura straightened, almost triumphantly. And whether the current guardian has fulfilled the role of a stable, nurturing caretaker. The boys held their breath. Then the judge delivered his ruling. The petition for kidnapping is dismissed. A wave of relief crashed through me so violently I nearly gasped. And full legal guardianship is granted to Margaret Ellis.
Noah let out a soft sob, leaning into me.
Jacob's hands flew to his face as tears spilled over. Adam closed his eyes and whispered, "Thank you." Across the room, Laura froze. Her expression flickered disbelief, outrage, humiliation but not remorse. The judge added gently, "Any future relationship with their biological mother must be voluntary and initiated by the children themselves." He struck the gavel. It was over. Not the pain. Not the memories. But the war. And finally, the boys were safe. Outside the courthouse, the fog had lifted, revealing a pale blue sky. The boys surrounded me with relieved smiles, tear-stained cheeks, and shaky laughs. For the first time in months, they felt lighter. But then I heard it. "Mom." I turned. Laura stood at the bottom of the courthouse steps. Her posture was tight. Her eyes were red not from crying, but from frustration. "We need to talk," she said. The boys stiffened immediately. Adam stepped protectively in front of me. "No, we do not." Laura ignored him. She looked at me with a brittle smile. "Congratulations. You won." My throat tightened. "I did not win," I said. "The boys did." She scoffed. "You always had them. You made sure of it." Her voice trembled with bitterness, not grief. "I wanted you to come back," I said softly. "I prayed for it for years."
She laughed a short, broken sound.
"Then why do they hate me?" "They do not hate you," I answered. "But they cannot trust someone who disappeared." She stepped closer, her voice cracking. "I had reasons." "I know," I whispered. "But healing does not begin with excuses. It begins with honesty." She blinked rapidly, fighting emotion she refused to show. "I will not beg for them," she said. "No one asked you to beg," I replied. "I am asking you to heal," I said gently. "For yourself. For them.
For whatever future you still want."
She looked down at her hands that had once held her children, hands that had let them go. Then she turned away. Not slowly. Not dramatically. Just turned. And walked down the long stretch of concrete until she disappeared around the corner.
She left again.
But this time, there was no illusion she would return. Life after the court ruling settled into something peaceful, not instantly, but gradually, like dawn stretching across the horizon. Adam, now old enough to live on his own, moved into a small apartment downtown. He visited every Sunday without fail, always bringing groceries or flowers or something he insisted I needed. Noah enrolled in college to study social work. I want to help kids who feel forgotten, he told me. His empathy had matured into purpose. Jacob, the youngest, flourished in ways that surprised all of us. He laughed more freely, spoke more openly, and began writing poems about family, hope, and the idea of choosing love even when it hurts. One afternoon, Jacob came home with a school assignment, a family tree. He placed it in front of me with a shy smile. At the bottom was his name. Above him were the branches. Adam, Noah, me. There was no space for Laura. I hesitated. Jacob, sweetheart, do you want to include your mother? He studied the paper for a moment. Then he shook his head slowly. She is not part of our story anymore, he said softly. Not the real one. And in that quiet moment, something inside me broke, and healed at the same time. Because I finally understood. Family is not defined by blood. Family is defined by presence. Healing did not come quickly. But it did come. In small, gentle ways. Morning coffee shared with one of the boys before class. Evening walks around the neighborhood. Birthdays celebrated with too much cake. Thanksgiving dinners where we squeezed around a table that seemed to grow smaller every year. Sometimes I still thought about Laura. Where she went. What she was doing. Whether she regretted anything. But the pain no longer consumed me. Some losses do not go away. They simply become part of the landscape of your heart. And in that landscape, new life grows. If you asked me today whether I would do it all again. The sleepless nights. The financial strain. The uncertainty. The grief. The court battles. The fear of losing them. I would say yes. Yes, 1,000 times.